What's up, everyone, and welcome to ClearTalk. So, today is not going to be an easy day. It's going to be quite serious, and I've got some things to talk about. Here, if you haven't noticed, here lately, I've been trying to average at about 3 videos a day, and today's videos are going to be very much tied together, because I try typically to kind of hit on different things, but today's is going to be tied together. This one is going to be covering the assassination of Charlie Kirk. I'm going to mostly concentrate on just the details, and my opinion on what happened. And then the other two will kind of branch from that. It will be related, very much so. Kind of expanding on the topic at large, or different facets of the topic. So, here's normally where I would do my little spew about, all the channels and subscribing and stuff like that. I'm not going to worry about that right now. If you would like to, you know what to do. So, yesterday, Charlie Kirk, he's a conservative activist. He's the founder of Turning Point USA. Was fatally shot at an event in Utah Valley University, in Utah, of course. The shot was fired reportedly, since then it's thought that it was shot from a rooftop. They're approximating around 200 yards away, according to law enforcement. Of course, it's being put pretty strongly as a political assassination, which, there's good credit for that. There's been several people come out. There's been a lot of issues around it, infighting in Congress and other things that have been going on. I want to start out first off. I have said before, regardless of what you think of somebody, whether you agree or disagree with someone, violence should never be an option. It should not be the answer. I very much so condemn this act. Charlie Kirk was a husband. He was a father, 2 little girls. He was a person. He engaged in, he's kind of known for engaging in political debate, oftentimes on college campuses and stuff like that. I guess his idea was trying to critically engage with young people to I mean, I don't know if his intent was to try. I assume it probably was to try to change their opinion on things or whatever. He encouraged debate, whatever, which is fine. College is a place for critical thinking. It's a place where you can quickly at an early age be faced with faced with opposition to either develop your understanding of where you stand, or maybe reposition or rethink your standing, whatever the case. So he had become very popular in the conservative space. He was activist for conservative views. He was very religious. He was a very adamant supporter of Trump and his administration. So, I mean, even for me personally, there was a lot of things that Charlie Kirk has said that I do not agree with. A lot of his views I do not agree with. He has said some pretty, in my opinion, egregious things. Particularly around here, especially even lately, about DEI towards in a way racist comments, in my opinion. I mean, I don't agree with them. I'm not, I know you can backlash and say, oh, he wasn't racist or whatever. Okay, fine. But I'm saying some of his comments were not exactly, he had tendencies in certain areas. Let's put it that way. Not to say he was a bad person. I just think he had some bad views. And he advocated for things that I don't think benefited society at large. But in saying that, I do not agree with him with this action. I do not agree with him being assassinated. I do not agree with the violence. And it shouldn't have happened. This should not happen to anybody. I said the same thing when the attempt on Trump was made. No matter how much you might not like somebody, it shouldn't happen. So I just want to go ahead and get that out of the way. A high power. This is the investigation and manhunt. A high-powered bolt-action rifle believed to be the murder weapon was recovered near the scene in a wooded area. Law enforcement report that the shooter appears to be male and of potentially college age. Not sure exactly. And video and footage of the suspect has been obtained. Investigators have also collected other physical evidence, including footwear imprints, potentially a paw print, a forearm imprint. And all of this is being analyzed. I mean, they've probably just covered all kinds of stuff. Some of it might be related. Some of it might not be. And a lot of tips from video, I'm sure, all over the place has been received by the FBI. Like hundreds of tips. There were two individuals that were initially detained but later released. This is something that's very, very. This is going to be mostly a part of another video after this, but I've seen video of one of the individuals that was detained and taken into custody, and for me, as egregious, and I understand the anger or frustration with seeing something like that happen in the moment, but as a reaction to that, you yourself encourage violence just because of the assumption of what you're seeing and that you are relating the two, doesn't really make anything any better. Okay? If you're arguing that one side or something is, you're arguing against violence in one direction, but then encouraging violence in another, there's something there that needs to, needs to be reevaluated. But we're going to kind of go over that in another video. Of course, the reactions and stuff, we've had a lot of politicians come out. We've had Trump come out condemning the violence. One other thing, Trump announced that the flags nationwide would be flown at half staff in Kirk's honor, and he pledged to award the Presidential Medal of Freedom to him. This has come as a controversy for some, because this type of action has not been done in other instances of gun violence. So it's confusing for some that it would happen in this instance. And honestly feels like a bit of a political image thing, like trying to just, capitalize on this particular moment, which Trump is good at. Look, like I said, I do not in any way condone this. Do I agree with the man? Did I agree with the man? No. On many things. I don't think he was, like I said, I don't think he was a bad person. I just think he had some bad views. But nevertheless, political violence is not the answer. We, at the moment, at the far as I have seen, the person responsible has not been found. So I want to make it clear, we do not know what the purpose, motivation of this act was. Okay? You're going to see a lot of people making assumptions, pointing the finger. As a matter of fact, Trump himself did. But we do not know. Could it have been a left-leaning person trying to do a political action on a conservative personality because they were mad and angry and upset, couldn't take what was being said by them? I mean, possibly. It would be somebody who apparently wasn't using critical thinking, because to do that type of act completely goes against the argument. If you don't like something, to make this type of action is just going to embolden, oftentimes, the side that you are acting against. It will just strengthen and embolden the right wing to go even harder on the things that you are upset about. So it's counterproductive to do this kind of action if you are on the other side. It's counterproductive to even celebrate this action. And there have been videos of people celebrating it. Like I said, you can not like the guy. You can hate the guy. You can point out all the egregious things that the man has said. And he has said some egregious things. But, and you can even, say that you do not care or have no interest in showing remorse. You don't care to give thoughts and prayers about him. Fine. That's your right. That's your freedom of speech. But just understand that celebrating, or the perspective of you celebrating, doesn't help your point. It's counterproductive to trying to push for what would seemingly be an ideology that oftentimes emboldens violence on the right wing. And they do. I'm going to make that clear. The right wing is much more emboldened towards violence than the left wing. If that is not clear, then your eyes are, you're blind. Okay? You just are. I'm talking about the greater amount, or a greater ideology, the greater concept behind someone on the left versus someone on the right. I'm just saying, the right is prone and more often advocates for more violent actions. You're not helping it. But that being said, there's also a section of the right that, because Charlie Kirk I would not consider him an extreme right. He was a little bit more of a moderate right, in my opinion. So and this is a common thing in both sides, there was a portion and part of the extreme right who did not like and oftentimes argued with and against Charlie Kirk because they felt he wasn't right enough. I mean, recently, from my understanding, Charlie Kirk and some far right Nazi individuals or groups were in conflict with each other. They were arguing with each other over social media and stuff like that because they were basically stating that Kirk was not right enough, that he wasn't advocating for more far right stuff, or he was, being too easy or too, understanding of opinions that were left of him. And I'm willing to admit, Charlie Kirk in certain moments had a good, he had a way of, kind of being a little more understanding about that. He was somebody who could have a conversation with somebody on the, to the left of him without completely just, being completely absurd. Now, a lot of times political people like that can do that in like a live setting. They'll say and act one way in a live setting, but then when they get in their own stuff in their own personal space, they say things that, we see this all the time. They say things that are a little bit more extreme. I guess you could argue it's not really extreme, but they say things that are a little bit more, to their side than what they would have in a live setting. But nevertheless, so, I could argue, anyone could argue just as much that it was potentially even somebody from his own camp. Okay. I think there's a lot of things around this that is potentially questionable. There's a lot of conspiracy going on. There's a lot of videos out there, trying to make it something that it's most likely not. I question. It's don't believe everything you see. Don't believe everything that is said, no matter where it's coming from. Like, take it all in as the information comes in, as things get released, analyze it, and use rationality, critical thinking to come to the best conclusion you can come to. What makes the most sense as far as like the details. But it's an unfortunate event. And I do feel for his family. For his daughters, especially, because they just lost their father. They just lost, somebody that, I assume was probably pretty important to them. So I encourage for tempers to be controlled, for critical thought and understanding and, analysis be made, not losing our shit. Whatever your opinion is, wherever you stand on the political spectrum, it needs to be toned down. It needs to be controlled by you. Because the last thing we need is for an act like this to domino into other actions. And, we have some kind of temporarily or whatever, some type of societal breakdown. As more information comes in, I will talk about it and let you know. We'll go over it. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much. Peace. I'll see you in the next one. With love, ClearTalk. I'm out.